It's nice to see you here in Austin, Yaki.
Well, pleasure to be here. The weather is so good, so it's a real pleasure to be here in Austin.
Yes, absolutely. I thought we'd start by having you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and then a little bit about Neurotech as well.
Maybe I'd like to start by saying that we are right now at a DLAC, Digital Learning Conference. And for me, it's very natural to be here. I'm in this domain for more than a decade. That's my passion. And my background is in engineering, but I moved to education. I done a PhD in education in 2010, and I started at Tech Israel in 2014. So for me, anything related to education, innovation, and the impact of technology and digital in our education system is something which is very much in my heart and in my soul, and that's I'm very passionate about. So that's why I was so excited when I had the opportunity to start leading Neurotech and take Neurotech from I would say the domain that it used to be into a new domain, which is more the general population. I'll expand in a second what does it mean. What we do is we measure human attention. And human attention is critical to everything that we do in life, including learning. And primarily, Neurotech focused on it in the clinical domain for over a decade, but I really sense that the opportunity is within the general population, making this technology accessible to every educator in his endless quest to work with children, with learners, and to bring them to fulfill their potential. I know it sounds, maybe high words, etc., but the bottom line, there is no average learner, and there is no average student. And we are in the age of personalization. And trying to personalize learning or personalize methods without knowing something about the attention profile of the learner, to me it sounds, as if we are missing the point. It's something that I see that is very, very vital.
Agreed. Yeah, I think Neurotech and Moxo are really well documented in the clinical community. And as we are working more and more with the general population and in the education realm, the question we receive often is whom in the schools will be able to give the assessments and interpret the results in order to support the interventions for the kids. Can you speak more about that?
We have spent a very large effort in taking the Moxo from the clinical domain to the general population domain. In the clinical domain, we are speaking about NOS, ADHD, it's done by medical professionals, etc. The same technology that we're using today, if we wanted to adopt it to the general population, we had to invent a few things that did not exist and make sure that we are taking this all the way from the clinical domain to the learning and education domain. First and foremost, Moxo can be administered by anyone. It does not need to be a clinically trained professional. That's one thing. Second, Moxo for education, what we call the profiler, is not intended for diagnosis. It should never be used for diagnosis. It's not judging anybody. It's actually looking at the entire spectrum from excellence to difficulties and challenges. And we made the language accessible to any educator, so to understand what are the strengths and weaknesses of the learning parameters of a learner and how they can tailor the intervention or the learning plans to the personal needs without having any clinical knowledge. We can do this because we are basing all our work on the vast experience that we have in the clinical domain. We have more than 900,000 assessments in our database. Last year alone, we have influenced the lives of more than 160,000 learners and students around the world. And people always ask me about the K-12. K-12 is, that's the school acronym. Kids in the age of 6 to 18, that's on more than 50% or 60% of the population we serve today. So definitely they are, both of them are in school system, both of them, all of them are in a need to improve anything, whether that's emotional well-being, academic achievements, dealing with maybe anxiety in the class and other challenges. And together with anyone, we are actually providing the information in order to support their quest for better life.
And what is the application when you think about using Moxo for this entire continuum, and some schools using it in their SEL efforts? How do you see the best application for the teachers and those in the schools to use the data that they glean from Moxo?
Those two things are complementary in nature. Yes, there's a lot of being discussed about SEL, but SEL is not the only thing that we do at schools. Okay, so even if we will use, or educators will use Moxo only for the sole purpose of evaluating effectiveness of SEL programs, we have done our job. Because many SEL programs that are implemented are only based their efficacy on self-reported data or some questionnaires. And here we have hard evidence to show that something actually moved the needle and there is some change. But if we take it to an even larger extent, there is no reason why any educator will not use the results of the Moxo profiler in order to improve the support they provide to the student. And I would like maybe to take even one simple example for that. We are all familiar with this setting where the parent, the teacher, and the child is actually sitting together, and the teacher needs to communicate with the parents and the child what he should do for making his learning better and where does he see challenges, etc. Having the Moxo profile results on the table as a conversation starter, I see this as a huge thing, as a huge change opportunity, because this is an objective data that is no longer based on the judgment or the maybe a prejudgment of the teacher. It's not something that the teacher has invented. He's actually using data in order to spark the conversation, talk with the teachers, talk with the parents, talk with the child, involve the child and the parents in any changes they would like to do, and later on monitor the progress of what they decided. We see ourselves as a key element in actually providing the data in order to inspire those changes.
Great, yeah, it makes perfect sense. In my many years as a therapist, I depended on those evaluations from teachers and parents, and oftentimes they came back very different, and as you mentioned, very subjective. So it's great to have an objective tool to really guide the conversation. I couldn't agree more. Well, great. Always a pleasure to speak with you, Yaki. And just in closing, any other remarks about DLAC? Will we come back next year?
You know, we definitely will be here next year, and we also hope to be very soon at the SUGSV in San Diego. We see the potential within the online learning community for Moxo Profiler as a very big opportunity. We are digital, we can do remote, we are fully online. It all makes perfect sense to have this close connection with the online community.
Agree. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.